the depths of depravity, where luxury masked an abyss of exploitation. Today, we venture into the dark underbelly of Jeffrey Epstein's infamous sanctuary, where the affluent frolicked in opulence while shadows of sinister deeds loomed large. Little St. James Island, a Caribbean gem that beckoned with its crystalline waters and verdant landscapes. But behind the facade of paradise lay a twisted reality. Beneath the tropical sun, topless women lounged, adding an eerie allure to the island's ambience. Yet, their presence was but a veil for the unspeakable horrors that unfolded in the shadows. The island, as described by authorities, became a haven for the trafficking and exploitation of vulnerable young women and underage girls. Epstein and his cohorts orchestrated a web of deceit, shielded from the prying eyes of justice. Among the island's guests lurked a parade of the elite, from celebrities to scientists, their presence shrouded in suspicion. Comedian Chris Tucker, known for his comedic prowess, found himself under scrutiny. What secrets did he carry from his visits to the island? Innocent bystander or complicit accomplice? Fashion mogul. Les Wexner's ties to Epstein raised eyebrows. Was he merely a business associate, or did he turn a blind eye to the atrocities unfolding on Epstein's playground? Award-winning actor Kevin Spacey's involvement adds another layer of intrigue. Did he witness the horrors or become ensnared in Epstein's web of debauchery? Supermodel Naomi Campbell's footsteps on the island left lingering questions. Did she choose ignorance over righteousness? Or was she a pawn in Epstein's twisted game? The late physicist Stephen Hawking's presence defies logic. What drew him to this den of iniquity? Did he, too, become entangled in Epstein's web? And then there's Prince Andrew, whose association with Epstein shook the very foundations of royalty. What dark secrets does he harbor? And to what extent was he complicit in Epstein's crimes? It's no secret that Jeffrey Epstein's island was a playground for the rich and powerful, but what exactly went on behind the scenes? And then there's Nobel laureate Lawrence Krauss, a respected physicist who reportedly set foot on Epstein's island. The presence of such an esteemed academic raises eyebrows and begs the question: what was Krauss's relationship with Epstein? And did he have any inkling of the exploitation happening there? Former Tony Blair aide Lord Peter Mandelson adds another layer of complexity to the narrative. What ties did Mandelson have to Epstein? And did he turn a blind eye to the crimes being committed? Reid Hoffman, co-founder of LinkedIn, also made a visit to Epstein's island under the guise of fundraising for the MIT Media Lab. But why associate with Epstein in the first place? What did Hoffman know about Epstein's activities? Of course, we can't ignore the controversial connection to former U.S. President Bill Clinton. His multiple trips on Epstein's private plane, known as the Lolita Express, have raised serious questions about his involvement. What exactly did Clinton witness or partake in during his visits to the island? Prominent lawyer Alan Dershowitz finds himself under scrutiny as well. As a close friend of Epstein, Dershowitz has faced accusations of participating in his illegal activities. What role did he play in Epstein's dark world? And let's not forget Jean-Luc Brunel, a former modeling scout with ties to Epstein's island. Brunel's partnership with Epstein and allegations of sexual trafficking paint a disturbing picture of his involvement. As we connect the dots between these notable figures and Epstein's island, a web of intrigue, power, and conspiracy begins to emerge. But how did it all begin? In 1982, billionaire Leslie Wexner brought Epstein on as his financial advisor, unaware of the darkness that lurked beneath the surface. Epstein's rise to power and wealth seemed inexplicable, leaving many to wonder about the true source of his influence. But it wasn't until Epstein allegedly manipulated Wexner's previous financial advisor, Harold Levin, that the true extent of his control was revealed. With Levin out of the picture, Epstein tightened his grip on Wexner's empire, solidifying his power and influence. Rumors of illicit dealings and unspeakable acts swirled around Epstein. But for many, it was too little, too late. Blinded by trust and power, Wexner unwittingly allowed Epstein to build an empire of exploitation and abuse. Questions arose about his knowledge and involvement in Epstein's actions. How much did he really know? And to what extent did Epstein control Wexner's vast assets? But Epstein's impact on Wexner didn't stop at finances. Oh no. He facilitated social connections for Wexner, introducing him to influential figures like Bill Richardson, George Mitchell, and Ehud Barak. Through Epstein's web of connections, Wexner gained access to exclusive circles, expanding his network and influence. But here's where things get really chilling. Epstein's involvement with underage girls reached Wexner's doorstep. Epstein would bring these girls to meet Wexner, supposedly for modeling interviews. It's horrifying to think that a respected businessman would allow such a heinous act to take place under his roof. Maria Farmer, an artist working for Epstein, experienced the horrors of Wexner's compound firsthand. Despite her reservations, she accepted an offer to work there, only to be subjected to abuse. Eventually, she fled, escaping the clutches of Epstein and Wexner. Now, let's talk about an unlikely figure who found himself entangled in Epstein's scandalous world. Stephen Hawking. Yes, you heard that right. The brilliant mind known for his groundbreaking work on black holes and the mysteries of the universe had his name appear on recently unsealed documents alongside other high-profile individuals. A 2015 email sent by Epstein to his then-accomplice Ghislaine Maxwell shed light on allegations made against Hawking. The email requested Maxwell to offer a reward to anyone who could disprove claims made by Virginia Giuffre, one of Epstein's alleged victims. The email specifically mentioned a shocking accusation that Hawking participated in an underage orgy during a Clinton dinner in the Virgin Islands. And speaking of disturbing allegations, let's talk about Prince Andrew. Recently released court documents have brought to light allegations of an underage orgy that took place on the island, implicating Prince Andrew in these disturbing events. The world waits with bated breath as the truth slowly emerges from the shadows. Court documents have brought to light some shocking accusations, claiming that Prince Andrew was involved in some seriously disturbing activities with underage girls. And it's not just hearsay. There are claims that Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's ex-girlfriend and accomplice, played a role in facilitating these acts of abuse. This alleged abuse took place in London, New York, and even Epstein's Caribbean island, Little St. James. I mean, we're talking about some seriously dark stuff here. Now, Prince Andrew has vehemently denied these accusations, stating that he has no recollection of ever meeting Virginia Giuffre, one of Epstein's victims. But let's not forget that Giuffre filed a lawsuit back in 2009, alleging that she had been flown around the world to engage in sexual encounters with Epstein's powerful friends. Despite settling a lawsuit with Giuffre in 2022, questions still linger about the nature of their relationship, especially after that infamous photo surfaced showing the prince with his arm around Giuffre's waist. It's no wonder that his association with Epstein has left a stain on his reputation and led to calls for him to cooperate with authorities. Next on the list is Lawrence Krauss. Now, while Krauss hasn't been charged with any criminal offenses related to Epstein's activities, his association with the wealthy financier has raised some serious eyebrows. Reports suggest that Krauss was a frequent visitor to Epstein's island, attending parties and gatherings hosted by the man himself. And let me tell you, these events were not your average soirees. They were known for their extravagant and debaucherous nature, with allegations of underage girls being exploited and abused. Now, I want to be clear that Krauss's connection to Epstein doesn't necessarily mean he was involved in any criminal acts. But the allegations of sexual misconduct against him have definitely taken a toll on his career. He's retired from his position at Arizona State University and stepped down as the director of the Origins Project, trying to distance himself from the controversy surrounding Epstein. But let's face it, the shadow of suspicion still lingers.